My one piece of advice would be identify what you want in your health. What are your goals? And then find people who are already there and then associate with them and do what they do. In other words, don't take fitness advice from someone who's not fit. Don't take wealth advice from someone who's not wealthy.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Compound Wisdom. I'm your host, Steve Sood, and today I'm actually joined by Leif Wombel. He's a co-founder and chief strategy officer of Male Excel. Now, Leif started in digital marketing, but really what makes his story interesting is he didn't just build another telehealth funnel. He helped turn a hormone clinic into a guided, provider-led platform with in-house clinicians, recurring labs, men's health, women's health, GLPs, peptides, and everything in between. Now, today, we're actually going to get into how the first patient was on FaceTime, why Leif describes the company as 90% medical and 10% marketing. Awesome, Leif. Now, welcome to Compound Wisdom. Really excited to have you on the podcast, man.
Great. Thanks, Steve.
Now, I always like to start off telling me about your journey and, how you obviously ended up founding your company and all the fun stuff before that as well.
Well, I guess that's a long story, but I'll try and be brief. I'm originally from the UK. I grew up over there. I came to the United States for my gap year, which is a very common thing that British kids do. They go see the world. My ancestors on my mother's side were actually American Swedish. So I was coming to see where my ancestors were from. And I ended up doing I was going to do a 1 year at a college in America before I went back to the UK. And when I did that, I met my roommate's little sister, and I thought she was rather wonderful. And I took her to a high school prom, and I ended up following her to Wake Forest University in North Carolina. And that's how I ended up following that girl changed my entire life. And now we've been married for 30 years now, so it worked. It was a good decision. We were married at 21. But that's how I ended up over in the United States. And I've always been an entrepreneur of my entire life. I think I've held a job for about 18 months. This is by far the most corporate thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Excel Medical. Up until then, I've been a lean, mean entrepreneur, coming up with concepts, ideas, marketing, nearly always in the digital space. And what led me to Excel Medical was that I was doing traffic conversion, affiliate space. I got into discovering Nutra, which was really, really booming at the time. A lot of free trial offers were on fire. And I was, that market is suspect to say the least. Lots of suspect players, lots of, bad traffic, mids going down. It wasn't an area I really wanted to focus on, but I knew the audience was there. And I had met a gentleman who owned a clinic, and hormone replacement therapy clinic, who had been looking to scale. And he and I became friends through the years, and we came up with this idea, and we formed Male Excel originally in 2019. And that's what led to this journey.
That's amazing. So you've been in the space for 7 years almost, for the telehealth space. That's like one of the first few companies.
We were the first. 2018, we came up with the idea. January of 2019 is when we officially opened our doors. But we were right at the very, very beginning. We were the first hormone replacement therapy clinic in the United States online. And we were one of the very first telemedicine companies.
Nice. And what are some of the things that have transpired since then? You obviously started a women's brand and a lot of other things in between.
Well, some of the basic plot line would be we started out with with doing ED medications. So daily Cialis was our first product, and Viagra. We always wanted to get into hormone replacement therapy, but testosterone is a controlled substance. And at the time, that
hopefully not for long.
Yep, exactly. Okay. That required a face-to-face consult. And so the product that we could launch immediately was daily Cialis and sildenafil. So we launched that just really to see if you could sell a medical product online. There was no one else really doing telemedicine at the time. So it was a very, very primitive way of operating. But we did manage to get it to work to prove the concept that you could prescribe online. Back in those days, the biggest hurdle was, is that real medicine? I can actually get real medicine online, which
Yeah.
obviously is no longer the case. But that
Yeah.
was the baby seed that led to, XL Medical now. And then what happened is COVID. During COVID, there was not only everyone became aware of telemedicine, but also there was a waiver of the face-to-face requirement for controlled substances like testosterone. There's
Yeah.
actually one of our providers called and said, "Are you aware of this?" And we were using a system of clinics. We already had clinics set up in 2 states, but we realized that we could do this directly via telemedicine as long as we had a standard of care equivalent to the in-person. And
Yeah.
we immediately pivoted to hormone replacement therapy. That was very, very soon after we launched, and that's the place that we have been ever since.
That's amazing, man. What kind of impact did COVID have on you guys?
It multiple. Number one, we were beginning a business,
Yeah.
so all of a sudden, none of us could be in the office together.
Yeah.
So having to try and set that up and get those energies together via Zoom and Google Meet and Skype back then, that was difficult. But seeing as we were selling telemedicine, it seemed that we appropriate for us to have to run our business virtually. So that was, I would say, the major benefit for us was the fact that telemedicine, it became of the awareness of telemedicine, the fact that people could use it. It wasn't strange to see a medical provider online. In fact, I'd
Yeah.
say most people are comfortable with it now, and COVID really accelerated that adoption curve. And then obviously,
Preferred, man.
yeah, exactly. Most people would much prefer to see someone online now. It's instant.
Yeah.
And then the third way it impacted us was without a doubt the in-person, the fact that we could prescribe that product and that medication online.
Yeah. And you guys saw your, first few clients or first few patients, I should say, you did the calls through FaceTime. Is that correct?
Oh, the first few were absolutely hilarious. So the way it happened originally was we were like, well, we came from a digital marketing background. My wife was involved at the time. She's an amazing digital marketer, and she was placing a Facebook ad, and we're like, try lead gen. Didn't really quite even know what it was. And then the next day we came in and there was like 6 people who said, yes, please call. So we called them up, between myself and our very first employee, Chris Berry, who is still with us today. And we didn't really know how we were going to do it. It took 3 of the 6 had iPhones. So we figured out we could get them onto an iPhone. And then we ran them into Dr. Martino's office, who was Craig's partner in the original brick and mortar clinic. And he saw them online, and then we had got our first ever prescription, which my business partner faxed through to the pharmacy of choice. And we were away, but it was extremely primitive. That was back in 2018 when we were trying to prove that it could be done.
That's amazing, man. Now, I want you to touch on, your partnership with Craig Larson, how that happened, and really what differentiates you guys from pretty much every other telehealth brand out there that's hyper focused on the marketing side.
Yeah, so Craig, I met years ago I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. We mutual friends had introduced us on the lake. There's a fabulous lake in Charlotte called Lake Norman, where he lived. And at the time, I was told, you got to meet this guy. They call him Dr. Craig. He is not a doctor. He owned a medical practice, but they called him Dr. Craig, and they told me he sold a potion that made you young. And I was like, what on earth are they talking about? So I met this gentleman on the lake, and I'm like, what on earth is this potion? And he goes, well, it's not really a potion. It is testosterone and thyroid is a and it's a gel, which is why people are referring to it as a potion.
Yeah.
And we didn't launch straight into business together. This was several years of friendship that developed through the times. And then he had always been trying to scale Revita, as it is and was and still is called. And I've always been in marketing and scaling. And we began talking about ways that we could scale Revita originally. Then the idea hit us of the telemedicine, because I had been seeing all of this traffic in Nutra. So the main audiences in Nutra are ED and testosterone, along with skin and diet, which ironically nearly always those are the same audiences that occupy telemedicine today. So the light bulb went off that if I could convert those audiences, Craig had the ability to convert them to real medication, not just, a sawdust pill that we were selling them on subscription. Yeah. So between the two of us, we made every mistake there was trying to get this thing up and running, because there was no system to follow. I always told all of our first employees, it's not like we're launching a real estate agency where you can follow a recipe. We are making this recipe up, because this doesn't exist. There is no software. There is nothing. So we have to develop everything from scratch. And in Craig, I found an incredible business partner, and he is still my business partner to this day. And we work extremely well together. We both have different but adjacent strengths. So it's worked very well as a partnership.
That's amazing, man. Now, I want you to touch on, obviously some of the medications that you guys offer now, and some of the ones that might be coming down your pipeline too.
Well, so the core products are, if I was to say, what do we sell? What we sell is a proactive healthcare journey. When you asked earlier, what differentiates us? We are not a shopping cart. We are not where you can go on in and self-prescribe blue pills, green pills, and orange pills. I want these. And a third-party doctor far away, almost like an Uber driver, just stamps it or maybe rejects it, rarely, based on medical information. But you really self-prescribe that drug. We don't do that. What we do is a process whereby we understand your health goals, we understand where you're trying to get, and then combined with a comprehensive health assessment, a provider meeting, and blood panel work, the provider and the patient together come up with a treatment plan, which can be different from patient to patient. We have no cookie cutter prescription that everybody gets. Our core prescriptions are typically based on hormone replacement, which is not just testosterone. It would be testosterone and testosterone and thyroid, but they're also going to be looking at D, the DHEA. A lot of people aren't aware that D is actually a hormone. It's not a vitamin. It's just called D. But they all work in concert together. It's no good just boosting testosterone without the other corresponding hormones, especially thyroid. Thyroid is really the quarterback hormone, which all of the others dependent around. So they're going to look at holistically at what they need to do to get you to your health goals. They could, if you are looking to battle insulin resistance or weight gain, then a GLP is a possibility. There's also the possibility of daily Cialis. Often, it's not for the obvious ED. It's often because it's a blood flow medication. So it was originally developed for heart health. So it often is part of a longevity program. So those would be the core products for men. But again, our providers may prescribe an infinite variety of medications depending on the product, depending on where the person wishes to go. Now, MetaXcel was our original flagship and what the company was originally called. And the reason it was called that was because we were on the beach trying to come up with a name. We stuck in GoDaddy and started looking around, and mailexcel.com was 99 cents and free. And we're like, that'll do. Let's take that to me.
I love that.
So that was the extensive market research that we did. But it became obvious that when your energy and so on was improving, and
Yeah.
particularly your libido, your so on, and you don't go hand in hand with your partner, there could be some issues. And the original flagship, the original concept, Revita treated men and women, and often a spouse would bring their other, their partner
Yeah.
for the same benefits. So hence we started FemExcel as well, and
Love
that
it.
has now grown. It's growing extremely fast right now.
Yeah.
But it treats the same longevity and for men with, you know, pre-menopause and post-menopause, using a variety of hormones, which includes testosterone, potentially estrogen, progesterone, and also some of the others like D and DHEA and so on.
Yeah.
But we also treat PCOS, which is a
Massive.
increasingly common
Massive. Yeah.
condition in young women.
Oh
A,
yeah.
a lot of the problem with women has come from two things: birth control. Birth
Yeah.
control is literally wrecking female population's hormones, and then secondly, the false black box alert that they have just recently withdrawn,
I was just going to ask
stating
about
that
that.
these things that are exist to help you could potentially cause cancer, which is completely false.
Yeah.
Study after study has shown that it's not false, but that misnomer stayed for years. So it's only just beginning to tip the other direction, which I think
Yeah.
is causing the acceleration of FemExcel right now.
Oh, it's yeah, it's the hot topic in the telehealth space. Now, do you
Yep.
guys do anything around GLPs, or what are your thoughts around GLPs?
Yeah, well, absolutely we do. So GLPs again were somewhat like the original ED medication existed for your heart.
Yeah.
GLPs were developed for diabetics, for insulin resistance, and then weight loss was an additional effect of that original medication. So if appropriate, our providers will prescribe a GLP. It's not a core. We're not out there advertising weight loss, but it could be part of our core treatment protocol if it's appropriate for a male or female patient.
Amazing. That's awesome, man. Now, there's been a lot of chatter, obviously, about peptides and the reclassification of peptides.
Yep.
What are your thoughts around peptides? Is that something that you guys are going to be offering?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm extremely excited about a lot of those peptides. Right now we're in a holding pattern waiting for that, that green light. So, there's a lot of mess at the moment with people prescribing peptides as research purposes only and so on. But we're a strict prescription company. So,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worse than that. I think the bigger epidemic is you have like 16-year-olds, pushing retatrutide on TikTok. It's like, how is this happening?
Absolutely. Which isn't even an approved drug, by the way.
Exactly.
I mean, do I think it's going to be great? I absolutely think retatrutide is going to be great. So we fully intend to embrace peptides once the government has given us the green light.
That's awesome, man. Now, what are your thoughts? Obviously you guys are heavy on the medical side. I asked you earlier what makes you different than a lot of the different companies out there. Can you touch a little bit on a little bit more so on that, on the concierge style that you guys offer?
Yes, I can. So it was interesting. I went to a telemedicine event, which was really from the digital marketing world. So I know that space. I've been in that space for 20 years. The characters that I know in that space are now saying I'm in telemedicine. I'm like, no, you're not. You are absolutely not in telemedicine. Like, yeah, we're in a weight loss clinic. I'm like, well, how many doctors do you have? None. So I ended up speaking at this telemedicine conference a few months ago in Miami, and it was fascinating to me when I looked around. There was 4 or 5 brands, which obviously I'm not going to name any of them. They were fairly substantial. I could literally go through any one of them, and I'm going to probably get the exact same doctor who works for a third party who rubber stamps my prescription in the background that goes to the exact same pharmacy. So they are really reskinning. They are marketing machines based on someone else's provider's network and someone else's medical expertise. That is
Yeah.
the opposite of what we are. We are a provider-led medical organization. So just to give you an example, every single one of our providers is a full-time employee partner with our business. We don't outsource them. Every one of them gets at least 100 hours of training in proactive medication in the first
Wow.
year alone,
That's
with
amazing.
weekly training, with accountability, with a twice a year conference where we bring everybody in to educate them for 3 to 4 days straight. We have two of the leading hormone specialists in the United States in Dr. Peter Fatinos and Dr. Lorna Brody, who run and provide the training for our providers and protocol. So that is the meat and potatoes of our organization. Like our medical team is 8, 9 times the size of our marketing team, which is a
Amazing.
complete opposite of those other companies who may have a single medical liaison who's trying to make their landing page compliant with the AI interface of the third-party provider network that they have no clue who they're even going to see.
Yeah.
So another thing that makes it completely different is that we are the when you hit Uber on your car, on your phone, you get a driver. You want to drive somewhere else. 6 months later, you hit it. It's a completely different driver. It's on call. That is somewhat like those telemedicine networks. If I have this provider, I have this issue, I have that issue. There's no continuity of care. When you come on with us, you get the same medical liaison and the same provider who are always with you. That same medical provider is going to check in with you every 8 weeks and all of your symptoms to see how you're progressing. We're going to retest you after every couple of months, and that same provider is going to be looking at them, looking at your symptoms assessment, and constantly adjusting any medication that you may need to help you hit your health goals.
Yeah.
So it's very, very far removed from that shopping cart. I think I want to try drug X because everyone's talking about it at the gym. That couldn't be further from the way that we operate.
That's amazing. Now, you actually mentioned my favorite 2-letter word, which is AI. What are you guys doing with AI? What are your thoughts around AI? And where do you see health and technology meeting with AI in the future?
I've been to several AI conferences recently. My hope is that AI is going to not replace any jobs, but make each job 4 times as productive as it already is. So in other words, it will lead to increased productivity, but we're not looking to try and dump a department and replace them with AI.
Yeah.
We are using AI extensively through our organization. We use them all the way from landing page and ad creation to concepts and ideas. We use AI in a basic analysis of the patient journey to recommend to the provider where a person may be and summarize their history. We use AI in our customer care. We use AI in our analysis of the provider consults. So every provider has AI listening in and then giving recommendations of things that they may have done better to help serve the need of the patient. We use AI in data analytics, looking at things that we could do to improve intention or, compliance to a certain protocol. So we use AI. There's very few areas of our business now that are not touched by AI.
Do you have a lot of that AI like patient facing as well, where they get to interact with it?
We do. In our patient portal, we have AI. And also information. I have a question about this and so on. The first few layers are AI. If you get stuck, it goes straight to a real person. But the initial interface is AI.
That's amazing, man. I love that. Now, you guys obviously do a lot with labs. Are you guys eventually going to look into do you guys currently offer genetic testing, gut biome testing, or any of those things as well?
Yes. So we do have our own labs. We built that.
Nice.
Every single one of our patients, we do a full panel blood analysis. We up to something we call a 360 blood test, where we offer up to 100 key biomarkers, urine test and saliva, and we really can do a comprehensive test of where you're at. And all of that goes to our own labs. They only deal with our patients. It's a fully clear, certified, 50-state licensed lab about 30 minutes from our headquarters. Our
Nice.
headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah.
And the lab is up in Mooresville on the lake, which is about 30 minutes away from the city. But it's an incredible lab. It looks like a space station. It's based in an old church that was our first ever company building.
And this is your guys' lab?
What's that?
This is your guys' lab?
Yes. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
About 200 to 300 tests every single day. They run comprehensive analysis of all of our patients. And having it in-house allows us to do much more frequent testing, and also much more accurate and more time efficient. We were originally outsourcing it, and they would get backed up in time logs all the time when there was nothing we could do about it. So we found, as the same as nearly all the components we've bought in-house, our providers and our lab. And the third part of that is our technology. We've developed the entire interface, the platform, the way that it issues prescriptions, the way that interfaces with our lab, all that data analytics, that's all an in-house system, which we call Memo.
Yeah. Memo?
Yep, that's what we call it. Mail, Excel, Medical Organization is what I originally stood for.
We got to change that, man. Can't forget the women.
Well, it's coming. We're about to launch the second version of it, so now we need to change it to emo or whatever.
Emo.
Excel Medical. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, exciting stuff, man. Are you guys doing anything around the pharmacy space yet?
Not yet, but it would be a clear future plan. Like it's definitely something we're looking at. Legally, there's some, it gets a little bit complicated if you own the prescribing entity and the pharmacy. But I would imagine in a future state that we'll be able to work that out.
That's exciting.
But we have a very close partnership with National Pharmacy, who we work hand in hand with, and they've been outstanding.
That's amazing, man. Well, this has been amazing, Leif. Thank you for everything. The one thing I want you to end off with is give the audience one piece of advice, whether male or female, for somebody that's looking to optimize their health.
My one piece of advice would be identify what you want in your health. What are your goals? And then find people who are already there, and then associate with them and do what they do. In other words, don't take fitness advice from someone who's not fit. Don't take wealth advice from someone who's not wealthy. And the key to me is your association and who you're with. So if everybody around you smokes, you're going to smoke. If everybody around you is fit and healthy, you're going to be fit and healthy.
Man, I posted that exact thing on Instagram recently, and I got a lot of slack for it, which was surprising, but I could not agree more.
It's just a fact. People may want to hear it, but it is a fact.
It is. Awesome. Well, thank you, man. This has been literally amazing. All my favorite ones I've done. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, Steve.
Awesome.